Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Mythlok with your host Nitin Nair. Trickster gods are a common feature in almost every single mythology. We have featured quite a few on Mythlok itself, and you should check out the episodes of Anansi and Mihai to really give you an example of how different cultures really view and want to present their trickster gods. Are they negative in nature or are they more positive, and is it all in fun? When it comes to Southeast Asian mythology, they also have their own set of trickster gods or gods who are known to be pranksters. Now, if you remember, we did feature an episode about the Dokebi, which is a wrestler who is also responsible for playing tricks and pranks on people, and it was more of a spirit rather than a god in the total mythology. But then Korean mythology also has its own trickster god who is known to wreak havoc in the lives of its people, mainly because of his passion of playing tricks on humans. This is none other than the Seokga. Seokga was a rebellious god in Korean mythology, and he, along with Mireuk, was responsible for the creation of the world. To prove their sovereignty of the world they created, they held 3 contests. Seokga planted a magnolia flower and proclaimed that if the flower grew towards Mireuk, the world would be his, and vice versa. When the flower eventually grew towards Mireuk, Seokga placed it on his lap. Mireuk then brought the world's first death in the world, leading it to exist in an imperfect state. Ultimately, Seokga becomes the first ruler of the world through deceit, opening a floodgate of activities or negative activities that the world started to adopt. The 2 gods face off against each other in duels of supernatural power. This includes such as making a river freeze in midsummer, hitting a bottle of liquor mid-air and having the liquor float in the air even while the bottle shatters and falls. In most stories, the moon and the sun double or disappear after the unjust victory of Seokga, and the usurper must either destroy the moon or the sun. Only the northern tradition discusses the creation of humanity. According to one narrative, Mireuk grows insects into humans. This contest between gods in the stories of 3 tasks where the gods try to assert dominance over each other is also a common part in various mythologies, and we have seen that in numerous situations where one of the gods eventually win, but that's by deceit. And this again is a common trend that we see in mythological stories from around the world. Seokga is often described as a giant who is similar in size and build to his counterpart Mireuk, which led to an equal physical contest. And this was one of the main reasons why the whole concept of a physical duel was put aside, because they are very evenly matched. In a departure from traditional stories, Seokga's appearance or creation is not known. There is no mention of any parents, which is representative of the fact that the god did not derive any of his characteristics that was passed down as part of his lineage. In some parts of Korea, the story of Seokga is interlaced with stories of Seokga and is sometimes considered to be the same person. This is however disputed by most experts and researchers of the region and of Korean mythology. Although credited to being the creator of the universe, Seokga is not described to have unlimited powers like other creator gods. He is often described as being similar to Mireuk but with slightly reduced powers. Seokga and other characters who hail from the northern regions of Korea are being slowly wiped out, and traditional practices being replaced due to the decades of rule by the dictatorial Kim family. As we all know, the moment there is restrictions placed on people's beliefs and traditions by whatever forces are in power, it leads to a decline of our traditions and the traditional stories that the people used to live by in olden times. Korea is pretty much the same. There is a certain section of society that is working towards building and reviving all these ancient traditions. But then in the northern part of the country or in North Korea, this is not the case, where any attempt to focus on your old or previous religion or your history or your culture is looked down upon, and unless you are towing the line that is part of the overall political build, it becomes very difficult to revive or keep any of these traditions alive. We do hope that more North Korean traditions come out into the open and people gladly celebrate and uphold them, because at the end of the day, this is what makes them a distinct culture and a distinct group of people, while also assimilating them into the common human race by having their own history that they can be proud of and talk about and pass on to the future generations. Thank you very much for tuning in to another episode of Mythlok. Please don't forget to check out our second podcast, The Daily Vanilla, which is back online after almost 3 months of being in a hiatus. Also, talk to people about Mythlok, make them listen to the podcast, and you please go ahead and subscribe, like, and please give feedback as well if that is an option in the podcast platform that you listen to. Thank you very much once again, and this is your host Nitin Nair signing off by reminding you once again that Mythlok is the home of mythology.